Now at 6, leaked texts from Senator Mike Lee. What the texts reveal about the state leader's thoughts on the 2020 presidential election. Plus, a man arrested after an auto pedestrian accident turns deadly. The long list of charges he now faces. And
that if anyone were to deserve the death penalty, it was Jared Baum.
The jury reaches a verdict in the murder trial of 46-year-old Jared Baum. Do the grieving families get the decision they've been hoping for?
Live. We're there for you. ABC4 News at 6 starts now.
And good evening, I'm Emily Flores.
And I'm Jordan Burroughs in for Glenn Bills. Thank you for joining us. The jury has reached a unanimous verdict in the trial against Jared Baum, finding him guilty on all charges in relation to the kidnapping and murder of Braylon Otteson and Riley Powell. The families of both Braylon and Riley said they're happy with the verdict and are looking forward to moving on from this chapter to memorialize Braylon and Riley. Amanda Davis, Braylon's aunt, said she was a little nervous about what the verdict could be, but also understood the jurors had a lot of information to sort through after a 5-week-long trial.
But we did it. We did it. The state did it. We all did it as a family. We did it. We're here, and we got justice for the kids.
All right, a sentencing is set for June 1st. The family saying they are hoping Baum is sentenced to spend the rest of his life in prison with no parole since the death sentence was taken off the table. Meanwhile, the Utah County Attorney's Office is preparing to speak on the verdict in this high-profile murder case that we have been following here at ABC4. What you're looking at right now, this is a live look from Provo, where Utah County Attorney David Levitt is expected to take the podium any minute now. We will, of course, keep our cameras there, be ready for when he takes the stand. Again, that coming up any moment. We'll bring it back to you as soon as he arrives. We're going to head now to Lehi, where we're following some new developments there on a crash that killed a 15-year-old girl who was crossing the street in Lehi. ABC4's Curtis Booker live in Studio B for us and what we know about the driver this evening. Curtis?
Well, Emily, the driver, identified as Alexis Garcia Torres, is accused of being intoxicated when he hit the two teens with his car back in March. Right now, he's in a Utah County jail. According to court documents, Garcia Torres explained that he was driving from work and that he had, quote, fallen asleep. When questioned if he had felt tired or as if he was falling asleep leading up to the area and prior to the accident, Alexis stated that he hadn't and stated that he'd gotten a normal amount of sleep for himself the night prior. The 15-year-old girl, Arlie Hernandez, died and her 13-year-old brother was injured. Now, Garcia Torres facing a long list of charges, including DUI, automobile homicide, criminal negligence causing death, and driving on a suspended license. We got more on this for you online right now at abc4.com. Emily and Jordan, back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Curtis. Reports of newly released text messages allegedly shows Utah Senator Mike Lee attempting to overturn the 2020 elections. According to messages obtained by CNN, Lee exchanged almost 100 texts with then White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows and GOP Representative Chip Roy from Texas. The text exchange shows Lee's support for illegal challenges to the election and eventually his souring to Trump's tactics in overturning the results. And the senator garnering criticism for the leaked texts, Ben McAdams, former Salt Lake City mayor and member of the Utah State Senate, commenting on those text messages on Twitter. McAdams says, quote, Mike Lee was a ringleader in a seditious conspiracy that left the Constitution hanging by a thread. The revelations today about Mike Lee's relentless efforts to undermine American democracy will go down as a dark stain in Utah political history. And we also did reach out to Senator Lee's office for comment and received this statement. It says, quote, the text messages left the same story Senator Lee told from the floor of the Senate the day he voted to certify the election results of each and every state in the nation. They tell the story of a U.S. senator fulfilling his duty to Utah and the American people by following the Constitution. We'll have reactions from local leaders tonight on ABC4 at 10 o'clock.
All right, aerial shots of Utah's water bodies showing water levels over time. Some incredible images. These before and after pictures from receding at the shoreline in the bodies like the Hiram and Sand Hollow reservoirs, Willard Bay and Utah Lake. As snowpack continues to melt, Utah Division of Water Resources says reservoirs sit at 55% of capacity. That's down 12% from this time last year.
And the Division of Wildlife is asking anglers to keep any lake trout under 25 inches caught at Flaming Gorge Reservoir. The reservoir, that is known for producing some of the biggest trout in the country. But DWR says trout size is waning over the last few decades. The average 8-year-old lake trout down 7 inches since the 90s. The new request is in an effort to reduce the number of small trout in the lake and allow the bigger trout to feast freely with less competition for prey.
All right, time now for a first look at the forecast on this Friday.
Alana Brophy, latest Easter weekend.
It is. It's right upon us, folks. And we started with that soggy conditions, and we know that those have cleared. We did see a cold front move through the state, moving into southern Utah. Our satellite radar shows how that cloud cover moved into south central Utah this afternoon. A few lingering showers right there in the northwestern corner of the state. We go pinpoint right there near the state line, but really, other than that, dry conditions as we close out this evening. The temperatures have warmed up as well. There's a live look at downtown Salt Lake City from our doTERRA camera. Just a few clouds out there, 40s and 50s for those numbers. 58 in Salt Lake, just shy of average. 75 down there in St. George, beautiful day. But that is going to change as we get another system. Wow, live look at Snow Basin. Isn't that pretty? They were the big winner when it came to this quick moving front, delivering 9 inches of snow to Snow Basin, with the Cottonwoods picking up an inch or two. Really not too bad. As we head into our Easter weekend, another system is upon us. We go from snow to storms. What you need to know coming up in my full forecast in just a few moments. Jordan, Emily, over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Alana. Well, families across the country are struggling to find baby formula, and Utahns are no exception. State health leaders say that the shortage comes after Abbott announced a recall on some of their Similac products, as well as supply chain shortages. Janice Brunson is one of many parents having to work around a baby formula shortage. She says after going to stores all over southern Utah, she's relying on friends from out of state to ship formula to her. While parents look for alternatives, Utah's WIC Health Program Coordinator Miranda Reynolds offers some health advice.
It's not recommended to make your own infant formula at home or to dilute infant formula to make it last longer, just because that can lead to other health concerns or malnutrition if done over time.
All right, officials saying that it's important to reach out to your healthcare provider to find the best option for your baby.
Today, Governor Spencer Cox showing up for a service project at Endeavor Charter School. Members of the executive branch joining the governor and First Lady Abby Cox in the hands-on effort to help out the community. Photojournalist Tony McYellian captured the sights and sounds of this event.
Today we're here at this school to really support our education community, but we're also here to serve.
Really just trying to make it a more welcoming place for the kids and the parents when they come. From the very beginning of our administration, we decided it was really important that we do service together.
We're painting here in this gym area a beautiful, colorful mural for the kids to enjoy.
We do a couple projects every year, so we did some last year, and this is our first big project of this year. Now that the legislative session is over, it's a good time to get outside and do some yard work, and it helps remind our team that we are, we're serving the people of Utah. Even when we're working in the office, we're serving, but when we're outside here and working together, that's a great reminder.
As humans, we need connection, and as we come out of this pandemic, we need to get back together and connect. And the most powerful way we can do that is through service.
There's just a great sense of community when we bond together on a service project like this. I would encourage all Utahns to look for ways to serve, look for ways to help, reach out to your neighbors, your friends, your kids' school, and there's always something for us to do.
Again, that was photojournalist Tony McYellian with the sights and sounds of this service event. That project today takes place during Community Development Week in Utah.
Okay, officials make a gruesome discovery at an Arizona home. One man now faces more than 90 animal cruelty charges.
And the Jazz and the Mavericks will be meeting for the third time in the NBA playoffs. Coming up in sports, Wesley Ruff will take a look back at the 2 previous series.
And there's a live look at Oak City, Millard County. Sunshine and clear skies right now, but this is one of the spots facing a wind advisory for Easter weekend. What you need to know coming up in Utah's most accurate forecast.
You're watching ABC4 News.
Welcome back. The president is pushing to bolster the supply chain and increase the development of goods here in the U.S.
And he's also calling on Congress to pass legislation to make this a reality. Washington correspondent Basil John reporting on why the president thinks this is a necessary goal for the country.
Science and technology is moving so incredibly rapidly.
President Joe Biden took a trip to Greensboro, North Carolina, to highlight the importance of making the U.S. a leader in technology development.
Companies are ready to invest in America, in American communities, and American workers. But they need to see that their government is capable of investing in our future.
The president promises this approach will help the country deal with many economic issues we face today.
Bringing manufacturing jobs back and building the supply chains here at home, not outsourced from abroad.
The president wants the U.S. to become a major developer of semiconductors and other technology. He's calling on Congress to pass his bipartisan innovation bill.
Congress needs to get this bill to my desk as quickly as possible. Our economic strength is on the line, and national security as well is on the line.
The president is confident this will help tackle the issue with inflation, as building more in America will grow its economic capacity.
There's not a thing, not a single thing America cannot do. Not a single thing.
Again, that was Basil John reporting from Washington. Some Democrats have already come out showcasing their support for the legislation, but Republicans are pinning the problem of inflation on the president and his spending plans. And the Biden administration announces plans to resume leasing for oil and gas drilling on federal lands. This in another effort by the administration to reduce reliance on foreign powers, especially as sanctions against Russia and Russian oil drive up fuel costs in the U.S. The U.S. Center for Biological Diversity calling the decision a violation of the president's campaign promise to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Starting Monday, the Interior Department says nearly 150,000 acres will be made available for drilling.
In time now for the Mountain West Minute and a snapshot of the stories making headlines across the region today. Nevada governor launching a $500 million affordable housing program in the state. With home prices skyrocketing faster in Las Vegas than other cities across the nation, the governor's Home Means Nevada initiative is now accepting applications for funding new affordable housing projects. And in Arizona, a man facing 94 counts of animal cruelty. Mojave County deputies and animal control responding to a report and finding 183 dead dogs, rabbits, birds, turtles, and more in his freezer. In an interview, the suspect admitting to freezing some of the animals alive. And officials offering the latest on wildfires raging in New Mexico. The McBride fire killing 2 people and forcing 5,000 to evacuate there. It's the biggest burning across the state at this point. McBride scorching nearly 10 square miles of forest and grass. The wind spreading that fire briefly. It did let up yesterday, but today those winds are back.
Time now for Utah's most accurate forecast with Alana Brophy. Weather rates certified 11 years in a row.
All right, and it's time for weather. ABC4's chief meteorologist Alana Brophy. Alana, Easter this weekend, and I know you teased it in the earlier shows, but 70s on the way?
Yeah, but we have to get through a lot to get there, Jordan, so we got to just power through. But yes, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Right now, we've got mid-60s in Iron County. There's that live look from our Southern Utah University Network camera. We've got the cloud cover out there, but mild temperatures. Soggy start to our Friday. Now, things have changed. We've dried out, but the winds are going to ramp up. We get a strong southerly flow with an Easter weekend system that does bring the potential for wet weather. The warmth returning today. We're getting rebounding temperatures, but they are going to drop and then warm back up. This is what it looked like around midday. Check out the rain coming through. Great time-lapse video coming off of our doTERRA camera, which just shows some of those showers that impacted us earlier in the day through about lunch. The front did clear southern Utah in the last several hours, and we just have a few lingering showers, but all in all, the state now dealing with sunshine, a mix of sun and clouds out there and drier conditions. It was a quick-moving system, but it delivered in the way of moisture. More than 3/10 in Centerville, 3/10 in North Logan, Wanship on the backside of the Wasatch getting the same amount, just above 1/4 of an inch in Layton and Clinton just underneath it. So northern Wasatch Front was favored by this last system. That will be a little different for the Easter weekend one. 58 in Salt Lake right now, turning to the 40s heading into tonight, bottoming out in the low 40s with partly cloudy skies. As we head into Easter weekend, we've got an area of low pressure sending a cold front our way, but ahead of it, very windy conditions for central and southern Utah. Gusty southwesterly winds. We know what happens when we see this wind advisory. Gusts up to 55 miles per hour, blowing dust expected, so reduced visibility. And you can see this does include Juab, Millard County, down into Washington County, over towards Kanab, Lake Powell, Castle Country, and on the eastern side of the state. This goes into effect at noon, will remain in effect until 9 p.m., and the winds will be gusting ahead of this cold front as it approaches. Let's look at where the wet weather falls, because it's going to be out there and bring the potential for some thunderstorm activity. Cloud cover by lunch, noticeable. So Saturday, looking unsettled. Here comes the front. It moves on in, and it brings, well, the potential for those thunderstorms along the line of the front and valley rain and mountain snow showers. Now, as the front treks through, we see those unsettled conditions holding on as we get to midnight. Slight chance that we get a shower early Easter morning, but then we clear for the rest of the day. Beautiful conditions set up for the holiday, and you'll see a mix of sun and clouds with temperatures just slightly below average, 50s and 60s for those daytime highs. Strong southerly flow going to crank our numbers into the mid to upper 60s tomorrow in Salt Lake, 60s and 70s in eastern Utah, 60s along the I-15 corridor, 79 in St. George. The haze shows up because of the blowing dust. Be ready for it. It is going to be whipping in the southern portion of the state. Those southwesterly winds, ooh, they can be fierce. 80s on Easter Sunday in the south with winds in the morning, so sunrise services could get a little gusty. Dry conditions next week. As we look at the Wasatch Front, that system comes through with some windy conditions, cloud cover, thunderstorm activity, and a little bit of wet weather, but it clears by Sunday, which will be very nice if you've got outdoor plans. Maybe you're going to grill. I would love an invite, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. 60 on Sunday in Salt Lake, and we've got the drier conditions as we head into next week. Emily, over to you.
All right, Alana, thank you. And we do want to take you right out to a live press conference we have going on. This is at the Utah County Attorney's Office. They are giving reaction to the verdict that has come down in the Jarrett Baum case. Again, he is now guilty on all charges, that according to a jury trial that just concluded today. The verdict is in. Here again, we'll take the presser.
Part of the process as we now move to a sentencing phase, where the judge will have the choice of determining between two sentences, either a 25 years to life sentence on each count of aggravated murder or life without the possibility of parole. As I have previously stated, now that we have a conviction, the state of Utah will be seeking life without parole. Now, it's important to note that because we are midway through the proceedings, we have a guilty verdict from a jury, but we don't have a sentence yet. Because of that, I'll be making a brief statement, but I won't be answering any questions on the case, as we have a court order in place that would prevent us from doing so. But I want to express my sincere gratitude to the dozens and dozens of men and women in law enforcement, agencies around this state, and from the Utah County Attorney's Office, who have worked tirelessly since before my tenure began as Utah County Attorney. This case predates me, and it is easily, without question, the case that has, through which we have expended the greatest resources in the history of Utah, of any case in Utah County. And we have done so knowingly and with purpose because we felt so strongly about this case. And I express my gratitude to the witness coordinators, to the paralegals, to the legal assistants, to the staff, to the investigators, for all of their dedicated hard work. Most especially my sincere gratitude to Mr. Ryan McBride and Ms. Christine Scott, the prosecutors in this case, who so effectively and so artfully handled 29 days of very intense and serious evidence and court proceedings. And my hats off to them for the professional job which they did. I also express my gratitude to the rest of the Utah County Attorney's Office, which for the last 4 years, roughly, have filled in and handled other assignments as we've been able to carry on the work of the County Attorney's Office on this very difficult case. While a conviction like this will never bring back either Riley or Breezy, I hope that today's guilty verdict will, in some measure, begin a healing process for the victims of this crime. My heart goes out to the victims of this crime, their families, their friends. They have gone through a unspeakable ordeal, and my deepest sympathies to them and my gratitude to them for the close work that they have done with the Utah County Attorney's Office. And I acknowledge the pain that they have gone through and the toll that this entire case has taken on them. We now move into the next phase and we prepare for a June 1st sentencing, again where the state of Utah will be seeking life without the possibility of parole. Thank you very much.
Again, you just heard from David Levitt, Utah County Attorney. Let me just get you up to speed really quickly on what he was speaking about. This after the jury did come down with a verdict today. This was a month-long trial. They found 46-year-old Jared Baum guilty on all counts. This in the 2017 murder of 2 teens whose bodies were found and thrown into a mine shaft in Utah County. Now, this is 4 years ago. 4 years later, now this verdict has come down. The family of the victims, again, of Braylon, Breezy Otteson, and Riley Powell, they were hoping that Jared Baum will face life in prison without the possibility of parole. That's what the family's been hoping for, as you heard from the attorney right there, that is what they are also pushing for. The sentencing expected to happen June 1st. And this is also the first time that the trial in Utah where the death penalty is off the table. So an interesting case we are dealing with here. Here at ABC4, we've been continuing to cover it. We will continue to do so. Again, that sentencing expected June 1st. Marcos Ortiz has done several justice files. If you are interested in this story, we have so much coverage on abc4.com where we will continue our coverage there. And we'll also have much more coming up tonight on ABC4 News at 10 o'clock.
Okay, thank you very much, Emily. No, we're going to turn over to sports now. Wesley Ruff's got the latest on the Utah Jazz. Wes, go ahead and take it over.
Yeah, the Jazz and the Mavericks will start their playoff series tomorrow morning down in Dallas. Sources say Mavericks guard Luka Doncic will not play in Game 1. Status for Game 2 on Monday still remains up in the air. Now, unlike the past 2 years, the Utah Jazz are mostly healthy to start the postseason, and that fact alone gives them confidence.
When we have our team, our core group of guys together, we feel like we can beat anybody, and we've always said that all year long, regardless of our seeding. As long as we're, as a unit, clicking and having our continuity back, we feel good about who we are.
I wouldn't really call it Plan A, Plan B, because even though Luka's not playing, those guys are talented. Those guys can go. But at the end of the day, you got to respect your opponent, and those guys, like I said, those guys are talented with him and talented without him. So we got to go out there and do what we do and be ready to go.
Going to be a fun series starting tomorrow morning. The Jazz, I really think that they can do this. Whether Luka Doncic plays or not, I think the Jazz have a good matchup against them. They are all healthy, which they haven't been the last 2 years, so I think the Jazz can win this series. We teased that playoff history. We'll show you that at 10 o'clock because we ran out of time.
Okay, well, we can't wait to hear more. And also, we're rooting for you, Jazz. We are rooting for you.
All right, finally at 6. This is in Denver. Now, this is something that I don't know if any of us here or not, but this is about a Denver national chess master. But something about Griffin McDonald makes being a chess champ even more impressive. He's 5 years old. This is since age 5, I should say. He's undergone 4 brain surgeries, actually, to help control his seizures. One surgery left Griffin paralyzed and nonverbal. And, of course, he also says that he had to relearn everything.
Learned how to do chess more than I wanted to walk or talk.
That is love, but the seizures didn't stop and they were getting in the way of his chess dreams, he says. But after one final surgery, doctors removed the left half of his brain, and since then, the seizures are gone and Griffin earned the title of National Chess Master. Oh my goodness, like his dad, he says he's done all of this with basically half of a brain. Okay. I can never make another complaint in my life.
Yeah. He's a star.
Incredible.
He's a star. Total star.
Oh, yeah.
Goodness. Okay, hey, Easter weekend. We talked about this storm, wanted to tell you about the winds. They're going to be cranking into tomorrow, and we've got wind advisories in effect starting at noon, and they will hold on in central and southern Utah. We do get some wet weather and the chance of a thunderstorm. So Easter Saturday looks active, woo! But then we get to Sunday and things are looking a-okay. We'll clear out. Temperatures slightly below average. Will be a really nice holiday.
Okay, plan accordingly. Thank you so much, Alana. And thank you so much for joining us here today. We appreciate it. We'll have all of the latest headlines